Welcome to the RAOB program's Standard Cross-Section module. This video was made using the RAOB 6.5 program. The Standard Cross-Section module provides these capabilities: process from 2 to 100 soundings per diagram. Diagrams are completely user configurable. Plot multiple isoline diagram analyses. Overlay multiple meteogram analyses. And interpolate composite soundings. And don't forget to see the advanced cross-section video, which demonstrates these additional features. Process from 2 to 3,000 soundings per diagram. Analyze diagrams with user configurable color gradients. Simultaneously display 1, 2, or 3 panels per diagram. Display any 2 diagrams with the compare mode. Zoom in and out on any section of the plotted diagram. And automate time height diagrams with batch options. The cross-section module can create 2 types of diagrams. First is the distance-based diagrams, where each sounding is from the same time period but contain different coordinates. Second, time height diagrams, where each sounding is from the same location but vary in time. First, we'll demonstrate the distance-based cross-section. Just select the Displays menu and then the cross-section option. Now use the File menu and then select Create a new cross-section. Here you can select creation of a time height diagram or the distance-based cross-section diagram. So select the cross-section option, and a short message appears as a reminder that each sounding must have different coordinates. And now we'll click here to begin. Now we're presented with the cross-section creation form. Just select Add a sounding to get started, and then select a file containing the soundings you want to plot. This data file contains soundings over the United States. Just click each desired sounding, and a line will connect each successive sounding. When done, just right-click the mouse and select Create Cross-Section. In here we see the plotted cross-section with 8 soundings, extending from the west coast to the east coast, with the Rockies and Appalachian Mountain terrain drawn in a tan color. However, notice that the label below each sounding line displays the data.upr text. This can be changed with the diagram options. Diagram options can be accessed from the Options menu, and then the Diagram Option selection, or simply just by right-clicking the mouse over the cross-section diagram like this. Before making a change to the diagram options, please note that these diagram options tabs are fully explained with their own videos. Now back to the sounding labels, we'll focus on the X-axis section and the labels options. It's currently set to display the file name, so let's change it to display IKO identifiers. Before analyzing the cross-section data, there are 2 convenient label options which are not defined with the Diagram Options tabs. First, you can make a permanent change to the cross-section's name and description simply by clicking on the diagram title, whereupon an edit box appears. Just type in the new text and press Enter. Second, you can make a temporary change to the text line which exists below the X-axis labels. By default, this text line automatically displays distances between the individual soundings. But you can change the text simply by right-clicking the mouse over the text and entering the desired information. Then press Enter. Or just use the Escape button to return to the default text. Another feature is the ability to expand any diagram component sounding into a full SKU-T diagram. Just move the mouse over the sounding line of interest, and notice that the sounding information is displayed immediately below the diagram. Then click the mouse and a mini sounding image will pop up. And now you can click on the expand icon to create a full screen sounding diagram like this. When finished examining the full screen sounding diagram, you can return to the cross-section diagram with the Displays menu options. or just press the F6 function key. So now let's analyze this cross-section. To begin, you either select the Analyze menu option or just right-click the mouse anywhere along the left margin of the diagram screen, like this. At first, we see an analysis toolbar consisting of one column of analysis buttons. These buttons represent the most commonly analyzed cross-section parameters. Before analyzing the cross-section data, it's often necessary to see the actual sounding data. To do this, just hold down the Control key and click a toolbar button of interest. For this example, we'll select the temperature button, and here we see the temperature values printed at each data point. To erase this data, just select the Refresh menu item. So let's now analyze the temperature data by clicking on the temperature button. To erase this analysis, you can click on the Refresh menu option, or just again click the same temperature button to toggle the analysis on and off. It's important to note that each analysis parameter can be individually configured as to how it's displayed. Configuration options become available simply by right-clicking on the Analysis button. Here we see the temperature configuration panel. You can select the analysis data interval, you can select the line color, you can select the line thickness, and for those parameters that may cross the 0-degree isotherm, you can also specify a thicker display line for the 0-degree analysis line. Now let's add a second analysis and overlay wind speeds. Even though you can overlay as many parameters that you want, we'll just add one more for now, the icing analysis. Notice that for non-numeric analyses, like this icing data, a legend of terms is displayed below the diagram. Now let's clear the screen's analysis data with the Refresh option. For more analysis options, there's a second column of analysis buttons. To see these, just select the More button, like this. Here we have some very unique analysis options like CAPE, potential vorticity, inversions, fog, and fronts. There's also significant level options such as the tropopause and CCL. There are also dozens of meteogram display options available. To select these, just right-click the meteogram button. Here we've already pre-selected three options: helicity, low-level wind shear, and the show-alter index. Additionally, each parameter can be individually configured by clicking the small gray configuration buttons. Once configured, close the meteogram selector panel and then left-click the meteogram button to display the analyses. You also have two types of interpolation options available. First, you can use the Interpolate menu option. Once activated, you can slide the blinking cursor line by clicking and dragging the gray box below the cross-section, where location coordinates, elevation, and relative distances are displayed. Once you've identified the desired location, then click the Interpolate New Sounding button. You are first presented with a mini sounding of the interpolated sounding, and an option to save this sounding to file. The second interpolation option is accessed from the Displays menu with the Composite Sounding Map option. Here you'll see a latitude and longitude grid of all plotted cross-section soundings. You can then click and drag the blinking crosshair to any desired location. Once you've identified your location, click on the Interpolate menu option and then select either the distance or equally weighted options. Once selected, you are then prompted to retain or change the new sounding elevation value and then interpolate the new sounding. Finally, note that you can edit your cross-section dataset file by using the Edit menu. Once selected, you can add, delete, and even alter the sequence of individual soundings if needed. That completes the standard cross-section module video. And be sure to see the video about the advanced cross-section module. Thank you for watching.